Testing echo. Just testing the echo. It's not going to give me feedback. Hey guys, sorry about that. Some of you were joined on that other call, and I was just getting feedback, so I had to start again. Let me just see if this is working. Okay, I can see some people joining. Yeah. Just make sure. So thanks for joining, guys. I'm sorry about that bit of technical difficulty. I haven't done this live streaming thing before, so it's a novelty for me. What I'm going to try and do is share my screen so that you guys can see my screen share, and we can go through these articles together. So starting over here, and this is the one we want. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see this. And I'm just going to bring this up. So what's happened today? Very, very interesting progression of events. Jared Kushner has basically come out and, as probably most people suspected, Abbas was going to be his next target. So Jared Kushner, as I'm sure you guys all know, has been around pretty much all of the Muslim Islamic powerhouse and has been discussing this deal. And now he's saying that he's ready to work with Abbas. In this article, it goes on to say that he's ready to work with Abbas, but basically he's not very confident because Abbas has been saying pretty much the same thing for the last 25 years. And he says, if President Abbas is ready to go back to the negotiating table, then we are ready to participate in the discussion. But if that's not the case, then we are going to make the plan public. So they intend to make this peace deal public and put it into the public domain if the Palestinian Authority do not want to negotiate. And that is significant because basically what it says is that these are the terms which have been outlined and agreed with the Muslim Islamic powerhouse leaders, King Abdullah in Jordan, the Saudi Crown Prince in Saudi Arabia, the Qatari princes, Sisi from Egypt. All these people, Jared Kushner has gone around to iron out the details of this peace deal. And he's basically saying if the Palestinians don't want to come to the table, then they're going to go public with it anyway. So if they want to have input into this deal, they need to do it now, because they will take this deal and they will have it underwritten and certainly supported in the United Nations, and the Palestinian Authority aren't going to have an opportunity to get what it is that they want out of this deal. So the Mahmoud Abbas and the Palestinian Authority are basically digging in their heels, and at the moment they're saying they're not interested in this peace deal. They don't care about what's being said, and that Palestine is not up for sale. But the powerhouse that is being built up, the people that Jared Kushner have gone to, and Jason Greenblatt has gone to negotiate with, these are the people who are basically funding the Palestinian Authority. So the Palestinian Authority cannot exist without significant funding. And they've already had, you'll know that Donald Trump pulled the funding for UNRWA, which is one of the organizations that that feed in huge sums of money to the Palestinian Authority. They have removed that funding already, and the Palestinians are feeling the crunch already. You'll see here that there have been Palestinian protests in the West Bank, in Ramallah, Palestinian protests against the Palestinian Authority, because there are sanctions which the Palestinian Authority have put on Gaza. So they're not paying the people in Gaza, which is run by Hamas. And the reason for this is because they're not receiving the funding from UNRWA anymore. So they are now starting to trim down where they are spending funds. And so what they've done is that they're not paying the authority in Gaza. So here we see there is pressure which is being put on the Palestinian Authority by their own people, and this is all in view of this peace deal. The powers that be know how to put pressure on the Palestinian Authority, and that will come with money, because Gaza and the West Bank and the Palestinian people are so reliant upon money that that this is what's going to happen. The love of money is the root of all evil, and we know that the Palestinian Authority and Hamas are desperately corrupt. The people who are at the head of these organizations are filling their own coffers, and extremely wealthy people by their own right. So Jared Kushner has come in, and I just want to emphasize on the last paragraph here, where it says Kushner emphasized the economic benefits of a deal, saying that he believed we can attract large investments in the infrastructure from both the private and the public sectors to improve the Palestinian economy. So what he's also said, he's reached out to the Palestinian people and said that sorry, that's the next article. Kushner to the Palestinians: don't let your leaders reject a plan that they haven't seen. So the people of Palestine are sick and tired of the Palestinian Authority. There has been no change there for the last 25 years. This is exactly what Jared Kushner is saying to the people, and he's quite right that there hasn't been any movement by the Palestinian Authority. So it says here, senior White House advisor Jared Kushner appealed directly to the Palestinian people, urging them not to let their sacred leadership reject the Trump administration peace plan, which the Palestinian Authority has yet to see. So they haven't even seen this deal. There have been countless mistakes and missed opportunities over the years, and you, the Palestinian people, have paid the price. Don't let your leadership reject a plan that they haven't seen. A lot has happened in the world since this conflict began decades ago. The world has moved forward while you have been left behind. Don't allow your grandfather's conflict to determine your children's future. You see, it sounds all very, very well, but we know where this peace deal is leading. I mean, the dividing of the land of Israel is the breaking of the everlasting covenant, as I keep saying again and again. The top US peace advisor was in the region ahead of the launch of a fresh peace effort, and they went to Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Egypt, and haven't spoken to the Palestinian Authority yet. So it goes on further to say, I think the Palestinian leadership is saying those things because they are scared we will release our peace plan and the Palestinian people will actually like it, because it will lead to new opportunities for them to have a much better life. So the Palestinian Authority are saying that Kushner and the Donald Trump administration is trying to topple them. They're trying to topple the Palestinian Authority leadership, and that might not be far from the truth if they don't comply, and if they don't capitulate, and if they're not interested in speaking to the Trump administration and Jared Kushner, they will be removed from power. That is for certain. We don't know how and how long that's going to take, but they will be removed from power. The Saudi prince has basically said to the Palestinians they need to make a deal or they need to shut up. He's told the Palestinians, and obviously the Saudi power in the region is incredible because of the funding that they receive. So President Abbas says that he's committed to peace, and I have no reason not to believe him. This is Jared Kushner. He says, however, I do question how much President Abbas has the ability to or is willing to lean into finishing a deal. He has his talking points, which have not changed in the last 25 years. To make a deal, both sides will have to to take a leap and meet somewhere between their stated positions. I'm not sure President Abbas has the ability to do that. So that's Jared Kushner speaking about Abbas. And he says, if President Abbas is willing to come back to the table, we are ready to engage. If not, we will likely air the plan publicly. So at least we're going to see what's in this plan pretty soon. So I don't think he's going to give them a lot of time. I think that this is probably going to be within the next couple of weeks. We're going to find out, or perhaps the negotiations might start. We obviously need to wait and see. This guy, Saeb Erekat, is saying that the people, the Trump administration, are trying to topple them, which they probably will do if they don't come to the negotiating table. So I just want to find where this other part was, where basically the carrot, the carrot, which is here. So the US earlier this year cut 250 million. That's $250 million to UNRWA, right? So the Palestinian Authority is already feeling the pressure from a financial perspective. And now what is being dangled as the carrot is construction projects, work projects. Jared Kushner has negotiated with Sisi, the president of Egypt, to start huge construction projects in Egypt that will allow the people of Gaza to two-thirds will be Gaza residents that work in these massive factories that they're planning, and 1/3 will be Egyptian. So they're talking about commerce, they're talking about building new factories and prosperity. You know, they're obviously they're dangling the carrot. That's basically what's happening. We're yet to see what the next step is. But this is huge. You know, Kushner saying to the Palestinian Authority, either come to the table, we're going to take our deal public. And he says that because he knows he has the buy-in from the world leaders, the Islamic powerhouse and the United Nations. Remember, he also went to the United Nations just before he went on this trip. So further to this, Bennett, who is the right-wing minister in Israel, has said that they will study the peace plan out of respect for the US, and he's a very cautious man. He's against the dividing of Jerusalem, and he doesn't really trust anyone. He's got a head on his shoulders. Very successful businessman. And he's now the education minister, who's in Israel for the Likud party. So, and this is all over the news. Kushner, I'm ready to work with Abbas. It's well known. This is the deal, guys. This is that deal. This is that deal that is written in the book of Daniel, the covenant, which is confirmed with the many. There is no question about that. This is that deal. We have the president of the United States, whose name just happens to be Trump. His son-in-law, right, is the Jewish person with another Jew going around the world and speaking to all the Muslim leaders. What does it say in Isaiah chapter 28? It talks about a covenant with death. So anyways, reaching out to Palestinians, Kushner says he's willing to work with Abbas, and they're all, all of the Middle East news in Israel is covering the story. So we've never seen anything like this. We've never seen anything like this, guys. I'm just going to go back to, let me stop sharing my screen, and hopefully that's back to the to where you can see me. So we have never seen anything like this. There have been deals in the past where they have tried to negotiate a peace deal with the Palestinians and all that. I get that. I understand. I know that they rejected that many a times in the past. But this is different. We see the structure of this, just how it's been set up. The son-in-law of the President of the United States, the Jewish son-in-law, Jared, right? Now remember, what does it say? It says, in the days of Jared, the sons of God came down, right? The Benai Elohim, the Nephilim, who gave spawn to the Nephilim. In the days of Jared, that's when they came down. So we see Jared Kushner going around the world speaking to all the most powerful Muslim leaders. That has never happened before, ever. That's never happened before, where we've had presidents come along, and we've had diplomats and regional ministers and these kinds of things come along and make these and attempt to make these deals with Yasser Arafat and in the past. But we have never seen such a build up, and also shrouded in secrecy, and the planning which has gone into this, and it's called the peace deal of the century, guys. God, as I say this to people, God is not out to trick us. He's not out to trick us. He's made this so very obvious, that this is the deal that is referred to in Daniel chapter 9:27. This is that deal. This is the covenant that is made with death. This is the breaking of the everlasting covenant. This is the dividing of the land of Israel, and everything that we see going on in the world today proves it. Those of us who believe and know that the Revelation chapter 12 sign was 100% legitimate, we don't have a doubt that, or we certainly shouldn't, that here comes this deal, which is within months of that sign. So there is no question about whether this is that deal or not. It's blatantly obvious. It's obvious that this is that deal. So what remains to be seen is who's going to confirm this covenant. I don't know whether it's Donald Trump. I don't know whether it's Jared Kushner. I don't know. Everything could change in a second, as we all know. But this is the deal that we should be looking out for. This is what I have been warning people about since before Obama's second term. I've been warning people that they're going to come and they're going to divide the land of Israel. So this is where we are right now, and this is that deal that does that. Recognizing God says they divided my land. He doesn't say they've divided Jerusalem. So if people want to get technical and say that Abu Dis is not East, God doesn't say they've divided Jerusalem. He's in Joel 3:2. He says they've parted my land, and recognizing a Palestinian state on God's land is the final rejection of God and rebellion against His word. So that's where we are with this. Now, I just want to show you this other article that I came across. Just give me 2 seconds. Here we go. Okay. Okay, so this was something somebody else shared with me. So thanks for that. I'm going to find it in 2 seconds. Share. Location. No. This one. No, not that one. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to get the right. I've got to put that down. I've got 2 screens which I'm bouncing between. That's why I'm looking from left to right, if you're wondering. Okay, so looking at some astronomy stuff. I hope that you guys can see this. Colossal dust storm on Mars is turning everything blood red. So we know Mars is the planet of war, and apparently it's having a massive dust storm at the moment. And not only that, I want to also I'm going to try and share my astronomy program with you. Okay, this one. I hope you guys can see this. Okay, so here we are today. This is where we're at today, June the 24th, right? So we're coming up to what is the full moon. Actually, I can see it outside where I am. In a couple of days, it's going to be the full moon. So we are on June the 24th at the moment, and the the full moon is in July, right? So I'm going to go to July the 22nd. Now you can see at the moment, if you look here, this is Mars in Capricorn and Saturn in Sagittarius, and we see Jupiter making its way back. Well, it's actually in retrograde motion at the moment to Libra. So you can see right now, if we go today, right now all planets are going backwards. See that? They're all in retrograde motion. They're all going backwards because the Earth is overtaking them. So we see all planets going back in retrograde motion. On July the 27th, this is the full moon here. So I'm going to zoom in on this. This is the full moon. Look at where the full moon is, and look at where Mars is. Right? They are directly aligned with each other. And the full moon on the 27th. This is going to be the largest full moon in the 20th century, or the 21st century. Sorry. So this is going to be the largest full moon in the 21st century, and it's happening right by Mars. That's exactly where the full moon is now. Whether we believe it or not, the astrologers and the wise men in the time of Christ would have seen this as a huge omen. A full moon right by Mars would have been a massive omen. So I think that on this day, and I have no idea what it is. I'm not prognosticating. I have no idea what it is. But on this day, this full moon right here, right next to Mars, is something to look out for. Now, July the 27th is 5 days after the 9th of Av. So it's the 14th to the 15th of Av is July the 27th. And the 9th of Av is when the first temple was destroyed, and it was also when the second temple was destroyed. So this full moon happens 5 days after the 9th of Av, right? Now in Revelation chapter 6, the people who are hiding in the dens and the rocks of their caves are hiding. They're hiding at the end of Revelation chapter 6. If you read there, that everyone is hiding in their homes. They're hiding away, and they call on the rocks to fall on them when the day of the Lord begins, and the heavens are opened up like a scroll, and the stars of heaven fall as the untimely figs. They call on the rocks to fall on them, and those I believe, are going to be the fallen angels. They're going to be men's hearts failing them for fear of those things which are coming upon the earth. That's what Jesus said. And that's why they're calling on the rocks to fall on them, because they see these things coming down, and they are already waiting in their dens and in the clefts of the rocks. So they're already hiding, and they say, "Hide us from the wrath of the Lamb." They know it's Jesus. This world is going to know when the rapture of the church happens. It's going to know that it's Jesus. There's not going to be any denial that the Christians have gone, and the blindness of those who will have their blindness removed will know that it's Jesus. That's why they're prepared to have the tribulation saints are prepared to have their heads cut off, because they know that it's Jesus Christ. So the rapture of the church, and very shortly after that, they're hiding in the dens and the rocks of the clefts of the rocks. So what I'm saying is that on this day, when this full red blood moon happens, will be 5 days after the 9th of Av. And the 9th of Av was when the first and the second temple were destroyed. And potentially, who knows, Jesus said that obviously it was his temple that he was talking, that his body was that temple that he was talking about, and it was destroyed. So potentially, and we are the body of Christ, we are part of his body. So it could happen on the 9th of Av, when the first and the second temple were destroyed. So I'll be looking out on the 9th of Av for the rapture of the church, because this is happening very shortly after that. And I know that they're hiding away before the rapture, before the judgment begins. They're hiding away before the seals are opened. So that's the first thing, right? And that's on the 27th of July. So I'm just going to zoom out now and have a look at if it's not on that day, then what we need to do, sorry, I'm just trying to get rid of this thing here. Okay, so we're going from the 27th of July. Watch Jupiter. So let's actually go back to today. No, let's go back to the Revelation chapter 12 sign. Okay, Revelation chapter 12 sign, September 23rd, 2017. There's the Revelation chapter 12 sign. So, and I'm going to go by month, right? So there's, here, let's go back to December when the Revelation 12 sign began. That's when it entered into Virgo. So we're going to go forwards. Okay, there's it in retrograde motion and out, right? September, that was the sign. Do it again. Retrograde motion, going backwards to December, retrograde motion and out. So there, it's back. It's retrograde motion. And the sign happens. So the woman has given birth, and the dragon is about to devour her child. So the dragon is about to devour her child. Now I know I said it was I believe that it was Mars, but having looked at the sign and trying to figure out what's going on, because I think God wants us to walk through this. Having looked at that, I looked and what I think is the great red dragon is depicted by Scorpio to devour her child, to grab onto the child, which is Jupiter. So here we see Jupiter as it comes out of the Revelation 12 sign. It goes forwards through the scales, the Libra, the holy altar, and then it goes backwards, right? And here's where this is where the blood moon is. 27th is there's the full moon on its way to where Mars is, and then we're going to go forwards. So here it comes forward. Now have a look at Venus. Here comes Venus. As we're coming up to September the 11th is a Tuesday. Now remember, Tuesday, when Jesus turned the water into wine, was in the wedding in Cana on a Tuesday. So the Tuesday wedding. That's why I suppose that the rapture might happen on Tuesday. So September the 11th, the end of Rosh Hashannah, is on a Tuesday this year, which is also the same day Jesus Christ's birth date 2,000 years ago was believed to be on September the 11th. So obviously the 1st of Tishri can fall on any, well, I say anyone. There's a range of days which the 1st of Tishri can fall on the Gentile calendar. But it was September the 11th that he was born on, that most people suppose that he was born on. So this year, the 1st of Tishri, like it was last year on the 23rd of September, this year it's on the 11th of September, which is the same day that it was. So it matches up with the Gentile calendar as it did on Jesus Christ's birthday. So there's that as well, which is very interesting. So coming up to, so let's go backwards from July. So we're going to go from July the 27th. This is when the full moon is. So the full moon is over here. Obviously, it'll be a little bit later. So there's the full moon, right? And then we're going to go to July the 27th, and we're going to watch from July the 27th. So here comes Jupiter. Watch Venus. Now, Venus is coming down, and as Jupiter goes into the scales of Libra, right over there, that is Rosh Hashannah. Bang. Okay, and that is the third time. So it's been in retrograde motion. It's come backwards. It's gone forwards. Okay, and now it's sitting right there on Rosh Hashannah. But look what happens with Venus after the sign. So actually, Venus is starting to go into retrograde motion. We're going backwards now into August. Venus goes into retrograde motion. There's Jupiter, which is dead in the center of the scales on Rosh Hashannah, and now Venus does a circle in retrograde and goes back and almost touches Spica. Boom, right? Which is the corn. So Venus. This is very interesting, guys, to see all this is happening over that period of time. See how Venus goes into retrograde motion. Okay, going forwards again. This is let's go back to today. So from today, this is where we are today. Okay, Jupiter is coming down. Rosh Hashanah, Venus goes around and almost touches Spica like that, and then we carry on. So this is very interesting as far as the date is concerned, September the 11th, and that was obviously, we know that what happened on September the 11th, and that it was Jesus Christ's birthday. So Rosh Hashanah, obviously looking forwards to the blood moon, and also the 9th of Av, which is 5 days before the blood moon. But if not, then definitely Rosh Hashanah. And also, I just want to let me just stop screen sharing, and hopefully you guys can see me again. So something that also occurred to me was, I was in Jerusalem last year over the September, over the sign, and it puzzled me because the September, the Revelation chapter 12 sign was the day after the new moon. And I saw the new moon on September the 22nd. So it wasn't on Rosh Hashanah. The sign wasn't on Rosh Hashanah. The sign was one day after Rosh Hashanah. And I thought to myself, well, that, like, if it's going to be Feast of Trumpets, why would it be one day after Rosh Hashanah? Why would the sign be after and not fall on the day? So obviously everyone wanted to be raptured then, and thought that they were going to be, but in hindsight, 2020 vision, and we work through these things. So I was thinking to myself that perhaps the reason why it was on what was effectively the first day of the new year in Israel, so not or the day after Rosh Hashanah, and not so the first day after Rosh Hashanah, that's when the sign happened, is to point us to say this this Rosh Hashanah. So this is the Rosh Hashanah that the sign has happened on, but it's the next Rosh Hashanah. It's the next Feast of Trumpets. So effectively, you guys have 1 year. I'm giving you 1 more year. So at the end of this year, the sign has happened. It's pointing to Rosh Hashanah, but it's pointing to it the next year. So it's saying, this day, Rosh Hashanah, which was yesterday, this is the day that you need to look out for, which will be 5779. So it's going to be the Hebrew year 5779, and we know that 9 is associated with completion and judgment in the Bible. So yeah, I hope that's what's. I don't know how long this has been going on for. I'm not really very good with this just yet. I need to have a little bit more practice. And then I just the other thing that I wanted to go over, guys, is just two verses, or two verses from 2 chapters in the Bible. And the first one is from Ephesians chapter 4, where it says, "Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away with you, with all malice, and be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God, for Christ's sake, hath forgiven you." And the reason why I wanted to just talk about that one was where it says to be put away from you, all those things to be put away from you. It's not just you doing that. It's also to put anything that involves those things out of your life. And the reason why I say this is because I tried to watch a movie last night, which was called the Post, or something like that. It was the one with Tom Hanks and I forget what her name is. And I try to find movies which are fairly neutral and not going to be violent and things like this. And this was more a political thing. In the first 30 minutes, I kid you not, I can't. There was blaspheming the name of Jesus Christ 5 times in the first 30 minutes, and I had to put it off. I had to just turn it, because it grieves the Holy Spirit when we allow these things to continue on, and we shouldn't be enduring blasphemy. So I put it off, and I I wanted to discuss this, to say that if we're watching these things on television and we are hearing these things in music, and we are allowing these things into the receptacles of our eyes, or into the audibles of our ears, we shouldn't do that, because it's gonna have a bad impact on us. It's gonna, obviously, nothing to do with our salvation, but it's going to have a bad impact on us. And I just wanted to cover that verse, and then one other one, which is an end times, in the book of James, which is very much an end times book, where it says that the same thing. It says that, be patient, therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the Lord. And behold, the husbandman waiteth the precious fruit of the earth, and hath long patience for it, until he receive the early and the latter rain. We are that latter rain. You know, the fact that the Bible refers to the precious fruits of the earth, and that's us. And it says, he says, be also patient. Establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord draweth nigh. Be patient. Be patient with one another. Be patient with one another. And grudge not against one another, brethren, lest ye be condemned. Behold, the judge standeth before the door. I'll read that again. Grudge not one against another, brethren. Brethren, don't grudge against the brethren. Don't argue about silly things, about things which are not important. Don't fight about political opinions and things like that. Our love for one another needs to eclipse and overcome and be more powerful than our opinions, which differ between each other. So it says, you know, take my brethren, the prophets who have spoken in the name of the Lord, for an example of suffering and affliction and of patience. And I need to learn from that probably more than anyone else, because I'm the most impatient person. I'm just like, Lord, can we please get out of here already? Because I don't know how much more of this circus show I can endure, but all in God's time. So anyways, guys, thanks for joining. I love you all out there, and I hope that you are filled with the joy of the Lord Jesus Christ, and in the knowledge of who he is and what he's done. And the thing that we have to be most thankful for is him. He is the most important thing, and what he's done is just, how are we ever going to come to terms with what our King has done? So thank you. I love you all very much, and see you soon in the sky, hopefully.